Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Insomniac's Journal, where I can't sleep because I think I know the truth. Welcome back. Man, it has been a while. I am so sorry for the wait. Things have been happening. Life has been happening. And it's just been crazy. But I've never forgotten about anybody. Never forgotten about the few fans I may or may not have, or the no fans I have. But I'm back, and I'm going to start doing the show more frequently now, and I have a surprise gift since I'm back. I can't tell you what it is now, but I will tell you later. So let's just start by hopping right into the show. Today's show is about the subject of love. A lot of people ask themselves, what is love? Like, what is the true definition of love? And according to the dictionary, love is a profoundly tender, passionate affection for another person. The second meaning is a feeling of warm personal attachment or deep affection as for a parent, child, or friend. And then the third one is sexual passion or desire. Ooh. So tonight we're gonna, I guess, dive into the deeper meaning of love. Like, what is love? How do you feel it? How do you know you feel it? And what makes that emotion so tender? I'll never forget when I fell in love for the first time. It wasn't love at first sight. It was pretty much love gradually. When I remember, this girl taking a liking to me, and we were friends for a while, and I was going through my deep depression at the time for a few things, and she was kind of there, and you start to realize that you would do more for this person than the average person. It's funny because he or she is not quite family yet, but at the same time you feel a special place for them that no one else can quite take, and at the same point it's a new territory for you to jump into. And I'll never forget when we got together. It's pretty magical, and to me love is kind of not a two-way street. Not so much. It is a two-way street, and hopefully you'll love someone that loves you back, because it's very hard to be in something one-sided. Trust me, I've been there before. But it's a funny feeling because you got to know when to keep it and when to let it go. And I think therein lies the human problem, and what we as a humanity or mankind kind of fail at love is that we sometimes don't know when to let it go, and we let it fester and let it become destructive. And then other times, we don't know how to give enough of it, and we let our spouse or our significant other suffer because of it. Love is a beautiful thing, but it's also a crazy thing. And if you're not careful, you can find yourself, doing outrageous things or foolish things for this person. They may or may not love you. Or, you can find yourself doing something foolish and crazy for a person that does love you, but it's just like, man, really? You would do that for me? So it's definitely a crazy, undescribable feeling, and ultimately dictionaries don't really, or the meaning that's related in the dictionary, you can't. It's still, while it's the true meaning of the definition of love, it's still not the definition of love, because what might be love to one person isn't necessarily love to another, and everyone has a different feeling and expresses them their own way, and it's a beautiful thing, crazy, destructive or not, regardless of, to love in your life is a big privilege that is bestowed upon us as humans, and it's just a beautiful feeling, So being in love, it can seem incredible, a little crazy even, but you feel brand new. Again, going back to how you feel when a person is with you, or when a person loves you, and when you love a person, like you feel invincible yet vulnerable. You feel strong yet weak or susceptible to that person. And it's a wonderful feeling. Sometimes being in love can kind of stress you out, especially when you're going through some things with your significant other or girlfriend, or boyfriend, or however you want to say it, the other person. But ultimately, you have to decide whether it's worth it or not. I'll never forget when my first love, when we came to an end, it's the hardest thing to do in life. The hardest thing is to let go of someone you love, or to realize that you guys are not at the same level you once were, and it hurts so bad, and you have to make yourself believe that, like this is the right thing, and even though after you do it, you feel terrible, and you feel like, oh my goodness, this is the end of the world, it opens up, it paves the way for new people or for new love. And so one thing that I've learned in my life, and then once again, this is all just my opinion, is that love is continuous, and it is something that is everlasting. Whether it's love for your religion, whether it's love for your family, love for a person, it's there forever, and it comes and goes, yes, the feeling of it, but as far as love is there, you at least always can say, like, I loved that person, or I still love that person, and it's not something that can be easily taken away from, and it's not something you can easily lose, Relationships, man. Relationships, it's a give and take thing. I think where we fail as people is that sometimes we don't realize it's a give and take situation. I've been on both ends of those, and you just don't realize, that there's supposed to be a balance between the two parties. There's supposed to be a union, between the two. A lot of times that can kind of overshadow those the feelings of love, and the I guess the sincerities of love. They can get overshadowed by just the unimportance or the incompetence of one person over another, and you just have to be careful of that. Let's see, what else would love encompass? Feelings, man. Love is a strange thing. I'll never forget when I was hanging out with one of my homies, and he said, the scariest thing in the world to him is a woman, because they can make men do some crazy things. And when he said that, I was like, man, like that's crazy. I've never thought of that before. But then I stopped and thought about it. It's like I don't necessarily think women are scary. I think the love men have for women sometimes is scary, and I mean it is, because sometimes, we do things or we say things we normally would never do, or we do things that even our boys look at us and be like, are you really doing this for? Are you really, you really changed that much? And it's not really a change. It's your willingness to do that for the one you love. And women have it too. That's not to say you guys don't have it too. You guys definitely have that. It's just a lot of times it's scary for men, because we have this facade with our boys. We have this image with our boys, and we kind of step away from that. And it's not that it's an image or facade. Like, in reality, it's kind of like two dimensions existing in one, to where, like, they see one dimension of us, but then you see another dimension of us. And oftentimes you see a softer dimension of us, because we try to open ourselves up. We take off that mask for you to let you know and let you see the real inside of us, the real guts, the real human nature of us, and sometimes it can backfire. I mean, we can't do it with every person we fall in love with, but sometimes it's rewarding, and you grow to understand us, the same way with women. I mean, I can imagine, you guys share things with us that we don't, or you don't necessarily, show to other people. And you know, it's one of those things to where when you feel comfortable with a person, you let down that persona, you let down that mask, and you just really get to know each other. So, you know, if you ever been in love and you feel like there's a certain weakness around your significant other, it's not a bad thing. It just shows that, you know, you're letting them get to know you, and you're showing yourself to them. Don't be afraid of that. Don't, for a second, you know, man or woman, like, just don't be afraid of that, because in a relationship to survive, you need to see that in each other. You need to see that honest truth. You need to see that naked truth about each other, and you need to see whether that's something you want or you don't want. I know, heavy stuff, right? Let's see. Another thing is knowing when to end it. I know I'll touch on this briefly again, but just sometimes when love can become destructive, that's what I really should say. It's a destructive creature, you know? You don't know how to let it go. You don't know how to get it off your back. You know, it's there, and it's like your heart hurts, and it's just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know, just stop and reevaluate yourself. You know, and just remember, like, just like you found that person, you were alone before that person. You know, you can start over again and find someone else. Never think that there is absolutely no one out there for you, because there is, you know. And granted, you can choose to live your life alone if you want to, but, you know, if you find happiness in another person, don't be ashamed of that, you know. Or if you think it's time to go to search for another person, you know, just make sure that you're fair to the other person. Make sure they understand what you're going through, and, you know, what you're not happy with, what you're not satisfied with, and why you feel like you gotta leave. You know, because nothing hurts worse than a bad excuse, an excuse period, or just anything other than the truth to the other person, you know, for why you're leaving or why you're not happy in that relationship, you know. And then if you're on the receiving end of it, of the bad news, you know, anger is a natural response, and everybody gets angry, especially at the sign of rejection. Nobody wants to be rejected. That's one of the most hurtful feelings in the world. But if that person is rejecting you, it's for a good reason. Hopefully. Now, sometimes it's not, and, you know, if it's not, just move on. You know, just don't dwell on it. But, you know, just really listen to what they have to say, and just kind of grow from it. Just learn from it, you know. I remember with my first, my first girlfriend / now ex-girlfriend, you know, one of her things was just like, I left you because you were too nice, and I just felt like the relationship would never go wrong. You know, that's hurtful, because how do you really improve on that? How do you grow upon that? You know, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it's me. But then I thought about it, I was like, you know, if she wants something, you know, imperfect, or if she wants something, if she's trying to find something wrong, then it's not really me, you know, it is her, you know. And so I finally got over her and just met someone else, and, you know, life just kind of moved on. So just remember, moving on is not a bad thing, and it's not the end of the world. Sometimes we all need it. Sometimes we have to do it. But as long as you just grow from it, that's the most important thing, and that's the key. Now, I did say I was going to have a surprise for you guys, so bear with me. I'm going to go get that surprise for you, and I will be right back. And once again, thank you for joining into this show off of a major hiatus, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, see you in a few. Bye. Hey everybody, I am back. I know I said I had a surprise for you, and I do. I've actually started something new, but before I do that, first off, I know you were like, man, there used to be 2 people on here. Still are. I'm just here by myself right now. OBD is not with me right now, but he'll usually make appearances, and he is my other co-host, so he's on. But I do have a special guest with me today, my boy Neo. I have decided to implement a new feature, and surprise, I'm going to start doing Skype mail. Skype mail is when I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna give a topic and ask for you guys' opinions. And if you guys would like to be on the show, you can just notify me. We can get together, do like a Skype session, and we'll be able to actually talk together and kind of, talk about the topic and other things. So, without further ado, let me introduce my buddy Neil. Neil, how you doing? You're on the air. How's it going?
It's good, man. What's up with you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Turn up a little bit. I can barely hear you. Can you turn your mic up a little bit more?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Can't hear him, folks, but he's turning up his mic. That's what he's doing now.
Wait, computer. Alright, is that better?
It's a little bit better. Turn it up a little bit more for me.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, that's much better. Okay, so Neil, we're here and we're talking about love. Give me your perspective, man. When was the first time you really experienced love, and tell me about it. Tell me how you grew about it. Just give me some insight from your perspective.
I think my first love was through a girlfriend that I had met through two of my best friends. They were dating, and they were trying to hook me up with someone. And we all went to school together in high school. And I'd seen this girl, and when I was at high school, I wasn't really digging her like that. You know, she just wasn't my type. But I guess, when you're out of school and you kind of like, you haven't had anybody for a while, it's like, why not? I don't care. Fuck it. So, we hooked up for a little while, and it was probably like 10 months of the most agonizing crap I had ever experienced in my life.
Wow.
It started off like the first month was, of course, awesome, which is what most people call that honeymoon phase, where everything's amazing, everything's new about that person. And after that, it just went downhill from there. Like, I'll give you an example. It was one time, it was me, it was her, and her best friend, who happens to also be my best friend. And we went to the mall. We were planning on going to the movies. And she didn't want to go, so we decided to drop her off, and we went anyway. And, I finally made it back to her house after the movies, and, she was all, like, it was some creepy shit, man. It was like I walked through the door, and she's sitting in the dark with this big
Wow.
cup of soda in her hand, man. And it's just like, where have you been? I'm like, went to the movies, babe. Just okay. So you went without me, huh? Yeah, you didn't want to see it. Just trying to be concerned and whatever. And she was like, huh. And next thing I know, it was a long silence. And everybody knows when a woman gets quiet for too long, that's trouble. Next thing I know, I was basically wearing that cup of Coke all over my brand new shirt.
Wow. Seriously?
Seriously.
Wow.
And so, like I said, like after that, it just got worse from there. Like eventually, she cheated. That was the first time anybody had ever cheated on me. I took her back, of course, like an idiot. But, it's like the saying goes, like when you really care about somebody, you'll put up with a lot. You'd be surprised what you can put up with. And, cheated on me a second time. Not only that, ended up getting pregnant.
Damn.
So, yeah.
That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, so, out of all of that, it's just, I still stuck beside her. And I know a lot of people who would listen to this probably like, dude, you're dumb as hell. What's wrong with you?
But that really goes back, because I said earlier in the broadcast that love will make you do some crazy things, and that's one of them.
You have no idea. Like the guy, I guess I can break this story down real quick, because I guess this is another lesson that can be learned. First of all, the guy she cheated on me with, it wasn't like he was an acquaintance she'd known forever. This is a guy she'd been talking on. This was back when Black Planet and MySpace were like real cool, you know. And
Wow.
she met this dude off of Black Planet. Only talked to him online, and she was telling him that I didn't pay attention to her and all this other stuff, which is a total piece of bullshit because I was over her house daily. We're talking about she stayed on the bad side of Bessemer. And this was before I had a car. I used to walk to her house. And I'm not just talking about, like a little block or two. I'm talking about this is like a 4 or 5 mile kind of ordeal. So,
Wow.
you know, she met this guy off of Black Planet, barely knew him. And this is the big thing. This is how this is letting you know that like women when they lie, they have their junk together. Like she told me that she was going to go meet up with a friend at IHOP. Friend, and a couple of girls, they're going to go to IHOP or whatever,
Right, right.
and they're hanging out. And this is at 12 a.m. So either I'm really naive or she's selling this story. Eventually, she gets back, calls me around 3. And you want to talk about somebody who had their life straight, man. She was telling me that, oh yeah, me and a couple, the girls, we went out to eat. She was telling me what they ordered off the menu, how the conversation went.
Wow. She had it down packed, basically.
All the way down to the detail, man. So, again, I'm getting straight played the whole time. And it's just like, oh, okay, sweetheart, that's cool. I'm glad you had a good time. I would have never known unless she called back, like, crying her eyes out, saying that, maybe we should break up because, I'm just not the type of person that you think I am. And, at that point in time in my life, I was still kind of like that Captain Sable kind of guy, like, oh, maybe we can work
And
this.
ladies, no, not all women are hoes. He just made that observation about one particular woman. So please don't think we're anti-ladies.
Disclaimer, you're right. Not all women are hoes. But if you put yourself out there like that, anyway,
Wow.
it's true. But, I was in that type of mindset where, if she needed the help, I would help her. I would try to bring that person up. But as a side note, you can't help a person unless they want to be helped. Plain and simple. But I would not have known unless she called me at 3 a.m. crying her eyes out, letting me know how she went out with this guy, 40-year-old man, and she's 19 at the time. And this guy didn't even have the decency to take her back to his own place. He took her back to his sister's house.
Wow.
At 3 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, needless to say, the lesson that I learned a lot with her. First of all, be careful who you trust. Don't just jump into a relationship. You have to slowly feel that person out. There has to be a mutual form of respect for one another. And if you have a decent list of, I guess reasonable requests of what you find respectable in a person, don't settle. That's the biggest thing, I guess. If you want that person to respect you and you want that person to be honest with you and real with you and all that other stuff, you got to let that person know up front. And last of all, for most men, do not let your woman run over you. That's the biggest lesson I had to learn. I had to learn that being nice is not necessarily meaning being a punk either.
Got you.
So
Got you.
that's the big lesson learned. Most people, they paint that picture of, no matter what, you gotta be nice to her. You gotta, take care of her, and which is right. That's the right thing to do. But at the same time, you have to realize that Women have to realize too that men are people, and we're not just a title. We have feelings too. We have things that we expect things. How things to go and all that other stuff too. So just like we respect you, you have to respect us in return. So that's my little 2 cents on the first love kind of. And kind of, what else did you want to ask me?
No, that was perfect. Thank you so much, Neo, for getting into that, because that was awesome, and I respect you so much for talking about that and giving us your first experience, because that was definitely one to learn from. And I mean, thank you. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being the first person on my Skype mail.
Hey, if anybody can learn from my stupidity, hey, then I consider it a lesson. I consider it something that was good. So.
Hey, well, thank you so much, man, and stick around for the next topic, because I'm definitely gonna have you on the show more, because that was awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Should have me on the show more.
Well, everybody, that was Neo with his experience with love, and that was just the first of many Skype mails. So stay tuned with us. Thank you so much for tuning in this first episode after a long hiatus, and we will see you on the next topic. All right, guys, and remember, there's nothing wrong with love, and there's nothing wrong with being in love. Just be in love responsibly and love responsibly. All right, guys. See you later. Bye. Oh my God.